Ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, please. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. First order of business, I'd like to introduce the Lancer Battalion from Lawrence High School. Sergeant Major, you may start.
Cut, attention, carry, cut, forward, march. March. March on. March. Ready. Halt. About. Face. 6 steps. Forward. March. Left step. March. About. Face. Left. Face. Right, face, forward, arch.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Lancer Battalion. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the blessing of introducing our president. She needs really no introduction, Ms. Dee Oberon.
Hi everybody. It's a place I never thought I'd be, but it's a wonderful place to be. I want to thank everybody that's here for coming out tonight. It's a wonderful night. We celebrate the youth of our Merrimack Valley. And I have to say that as the president this year of Kiwanis, we all have to do our time. And it's a wonderful experience. But what I've learned as president is that there is a group of people in your midst, namely the Kiwanians, that are unassuming, quiet, and doing things in the background, and truly, truly touching the lives of many of the young people in our community that really need our help. There hasn't been one single meeting that I've gone to, or one single discussion. There have been differences, there have been differences of opinion and how to do things, but none of them, not one of them, has ended without mentioning how important it is that we do the work that we do. And it has been a learning experience for me to be part of that so intricately as the president this year. And it's been a wonderful, rewarding experience for me to see how many people among us are working so hard, so tirelessly to truly help young people who need us and to guide their futures.
Pleasure to introduce our Humanitarian Award recipient this evening is being honored because his work has been instrumental in improving the lives of sick kids and their families. Dr. Dan Hale is the medical director of Lawrence General Hospital's new pediatric center, a partnership between Lawrence General and the Floating Hospital for Children at Tufts Medical Center. He is also a children's doctor at both hospitals. Under his guidance, the new center has allowed many Merrimack Valley children to see the Floating Hospital's medical experts in their own community. Parents and siblings have been able to spend less time in their cars traveling to Boston while receiving identical medical care. The Kiwanis Club has been so impressed with Lawrence General Hospital's new facility and the specialized care children can receive there that we are in the midst of a $20,000 donation. It will pay for a comfortable, colorful family room that families can use while a child is undergoing treatment. Dr. Hale's administrative interest is community outreach and his focus on the patients and their families. The hospital says one of his current clinical projects is implementing clinical practice guidelines, which help healthcare professionals and families make informed decisions for their loved ones' care based on a solid evidence about what generally works best. Another project is Safe Sleep Nursing, aimed at further preventing cases of sudden infant death syndrome in our communities. He is involved in parent educational programs. For instance, he is leading a community safety effort with money from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Here, Dr. Hale works with local fire departments to install smoke and carbon monoxide detectors in homes who live there, to the people who live there. We honor Dr. Hale tonight for his work in the Merrimack Valley. His work extends well beyond. A resident of Kittery, Maine, he tends to sick children at the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital at Maine Medical Center. He is also treasurer of the Maine chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics Executive Committee. And I just found out tonight on his downtime, he's also an EMT. Is that right, Nick? Yes. Okay, so please join me in welcoming the worthy recipient of our club's first Humanitarian Award, Dan Hale. One more thing to tell you about Dr. Dan Hale. Today happens to be his birthday, so please join me in singing Happy Birthday to Dr. Hale. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hale. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much for this honor, as if I wasn't embarrassed enough already. And I blame Nick for giving them all that information. And Elizabeth knows I'll correct you, I'm actually a firefighter, not an EMT. But what I like about the Kiwanis, I met a few of you a year ago at a welcome luncheon, and I really appreciate that. You know, I was in the Circle K in college, but the Kiwanis motto was changed a few years ago to serving the children of the world. That makes a pediatrician very happy to hear we're not the only ones working with kids. The Kiwanis, as you can tell here looking around, is all about community. And that's a program we started up at Lawrence General Hospital. It takes a village for these children. As you know, Lawrence General wanted to keep kids closer to home, to keep helping kids. So they partnered with Tufts Medical Center, the floating hospital there. But even two hospitals can't do that alone. They partnered with the community. So the Kiwanis obviously stepped up quickly, and they sponsored a playroom. And that was a very generous announcement tonight that there's another gift coming that's very special. And community isn't just about buildings. Today I was working on the pediatric center, and that's why I was late today. And kids were in the playroom, and there were sick kids. And it's not just about those nice rooms. The parents, by the way, say, wow, we like these rooms better than Boston. I tell them down there, like they feel comfortable. The colors are nice, they're near home, their rooms are full of families, and it's not scary, and that's the way it should be for these kids. They get better quickly and they feel comfortable. But community isn't just about buildings, it's about the people around. Today was a perfect example about the community of nurses. You see the whole table of nurses there. We had a really sick kid there today, a kid with asthma who was having breathing problems, and the family was scared, but I wasn't. The nurses were there. Jean was the nurse. Lisa, the charge nurse, stepped right into that room to help out. They did just as good of care as Boston. We called down to Boston to double check and get phone advice. That's part of our collaboration with the floating hospital. And they said, we wouldn't do a thing different here that you're doing up there right now. And I called in about an hour ago. He's still doing well, getting better. He turned the corner, so they did the right thing for that child at the right time. That's a great example of that. And it works both ways. A couple months ago, a few of us here met a young girl from the Dominican Republic. She moved here with her family. Half of her family was still back home, and she had kidney disease, and it was quickly discovered she has kidney failure. She's actually going to be getting a transplant soon. But her family's from Lawrence. They've been at the floating hospital for a couple months, and they asked, can we go back to Lawrence to be closer to family? And they called right up to Marianne in the pediatric center and worked out how she can spend half of her days up in Lawrence and the other half at floating. And luckily she's going home some days too, but it takes a village. The whole team is working together for that. And finally, sadly, everyone will remember where you were last Monday, April 15th. It's one of those days like the man on the moon, which is a good thing, where you were. Remember Pearl Harbor, anyone here, 9/11, those kind of things people know. That was the biggest example of community we'll have for a long time. When you see the videos, you see those first responders running towards the bomb. You see I was at Tufts that day downtown, a few blocks away. I saw people running to the emergency room to help. They can't take that away from us. While we were there, while we were down there at floating, we did have one child admitted. They spread all the patients out over 7 very good Boston hospitals, and we did have one child admitting up to floating 7. And I went in later that night to check on them just to say, how are you guys doing? You know, the whole hospital is here for you. We're all thinking of you. And they were doing well. They had a strong family. And the next day, my phone kept on buzzing with emails from Lawrence General about prayer services at the hospital, about social support for people working there. And there was one email from Denise Palumbo with the nursing staff asking how our patient was down there. This young boy was actually from Andover, and his father is very closely related to Lawrence General, and everyone just reached out to them down there. His primary care physician is Dr. Chan here in Andover, so the community just stretches all the way across the state and through Kiwanis, through the world. Thank you very much for this award.
In the last hour, half hour, felt good about themselves, and then listened to everything that Dr. Hale's done, and felt like this by the time they were listening. I mean, for crying out loud, the guy graduated medical school when he was like 3, operated his first patient when he was like 5. I mean, come on, doc. You know, then I raced into this hospital over here and did that. You know, I went to see my daughter play softball today. That's pretty much it, you know. But I am here, and it's an honor. And for those of you that have lived in the Merrimack Valley, in fact, if you see the program, everybody turned, I think, to page 8 in your program. You'll see the prom picture of Bruce Arnold. And he was working in radio back then. He was like Dr. Hale. Bruce started when he was somewhere around 4 or 5. Chain smoking 50 packs of cigarettes a day and broadcasting live from his basement in Lynn. And it's kind of how he began his career and moved on from there. But I have the honor and was asked to introduce an award to a man who is near and dear to my heart. I started at WCCM in Lawrence. I grew up in North Andover, born and raised. Went to Syracuse, and while I was there, wanted to get into broadcasting, didn't care how, what, where, when. Went to different places. The recommendation of a friend at Syracuse said, why don't you go to some places around the Merrimack Valley and try to see if you can get a foot in the door and just say hello and maybe get into broadcasting that way too. So I went to different places, the Citizen, the North Andover Citizen, the Townsman, the Tribune. And of course the Tribune, like, you know, everybody there, you go there, Bill Burt Company, they just kick you out. Yeah, we got nothing, sorry. You know, here, buy a subscription here, buy a paper on your way out, but don't let the door hit you. But I happened to stop by WCCM and WCGY, which was at 33 Franklin Street in Lawrence. And Bruce, I had the opportunity to meet with him, and you know, he was great. just enthusiastic, passionate about, you could tell, passionate about what he does. And, you know, and he's like, well, you know, maybe you can start coming in a little bit and seeing what we do, and you have experience that way. And then, you know, and Bruce was into the lingo back then, and maybe if you keep coming in, we give you a little cheese as we go down the way here, and it was just like the best little introduction from him. So I did, foolish enough, started buying coffee for everybody at 4 in the morning and everything else. And he said, you have a tape, and I had made a tape at Syracuse. Would you like to come in and start doing sports on Saturday mornings? And I did, and start doing a talk show, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And the best part, and my wife Pam is here today too, is she also worked at the radio station with me. In fact, she was my intern when we first met. So her name is Monica, and I mean Pam. Sorry about, oh jeez, that was my little nickname for her, but I'll pay for that when I get home. So, but the best part of working at this radio station, and for those of you that have lived in the Merrimack Valley and know it, I mean, Pat Costa is there now as just to continue to, you know, carry on the legend that is there and has been there. But it all started basically with Bruce Arnold. And Kurt Gowdy, God rest his soul, was a legend in this business, a guy that I looked up to and admired. But the real heart and soul of WCCM in Lawrence was Bruce Arnold. And I can't say enough about this guy from the sense of made everybody on the air feel welcome, made everybody off the air feel welcome, and if you worked there, you were part of his family. And my wife and I were put together by Bruce. I think we were the 10th or the 11th couple, the 11th couple. Bruce knows, he knows everything, right? 12th, see, there we go. Well, hey, you know, Willard Scott had Bruce on the air this morning to celebrate the 100th for Smuckers, so he's getting up there in age a little bit, but really good. But with the day that I got there and the day that my wife arrived, he kept saying, you two are perfect for each other. You two are perfect for each other. So we were the 12th couple that he put together that went on and got married and had kids. So how many couples is it up to, Bruce, now? Like 312? 13. So we were like one of the worst couples you could put together, and you quit right after that, right? But everybody who worked there said it the same thing. You ever work at a place where it doesn't feel like work? That was the place that we worked at growing up, and it was the best. We didn't make much money at all. We didn't care. I lived at home. My wife lived at home. It was everything and anything, and it was all because of Bruce. You looked forward to coming in, even getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning on ungodly hours, listen to Father John Couture on the record Bruce played every morning to wake you up with. And then you'd make fun of him, and he'd be like, he'd be so nervous, oh, stop it, cut it out, I gotta get on the air. And then he'd go, hello everybody in the valley, my name's Bruce Arnold. He'd have 55 cups of coffee. I'll be right back. I'll be right back in a minute. I'll be right back in a minute. Hey, welcome back. Here's a record. Here's a Frank Sinatra. I love you, baby. But Bruce would always be there for the community. And he touched the lives of everybody in that community. The best part was when it snowed. And back then, there wasn't, you know, the internet wasn't there. You know, the Tribune was there, but the TV stations, but the Merrimack Valley was WCCM and the Eagle Tribune. And you listened in the morning to find out if you had school or no school. You listened on Saturdays to listen to Frankie Benjamin and Bill Callaghan and the talk shows to find out about the local sports scene. You listened to your kids play games so that Frankie Benjamin could talk about them. You listened to countless community people come in and have Bruce put them on the air and say hello, and here's what we can do for you, what can we do, and everything else. It's all about giving. And this guy, he's like a second dad to me, one of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. So if you get a chance, just come up and say hi to him. And I'm going to cry here, sorry. But ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Arnold.
What do I say after that? Annie, I love you too, pal. Oh my goodness me. Where do I start? At the beginning.
Bruce, you want to share?
No, do you mind if I sat?
Watch the ledge. Bruce Arnold passed away last night. That'll be the lead in the Tribune tomorrow.
I hear feedback. Please, if anybody smokes, don't smoke, will you? This is what kind of ruined me over my last few years because of all the smoking over the years. But we're gonna make it. We always will. And as I sit here and reminisce and remember some of the people that worked with me and for me over the years, 50 plus years, we never forgot each other either. To honor me, I should honor the people that worked for me and with me. So nice that the Kiwanis Club is presenting this award to me. I thank the president, of course, of the organization. Dee Dee, is that right, Dee Dee? They call you Dee Dee, do they? Hello? There you are. Hello, Dee Dee. And a guy that I've had the pleasure of working with for the last few years, Jeffrey Schenk. Where are you, Jeffrey? Where are you?
He's working.
Why isn't he in here?
Because you told him to work.
He's working out back. Well, I'll tell you, he's a very close friend of mine. And over the years, he's done so much as the Kiwanis does for the youth of the Valley. You should all be commended for that there. Some of the names that I recall that worked with me, Stevie Holman. Anybody know Stevie? Stevie started with us. He was 15 years old, Lawrence High School. He's now 28 years doing the play-by-play for the Atlanta Hawks. George Papianis, who worked for us over the years, served time in Paris, Iraq, Afghanistan. Ben Mevrak was our news director, now news director at WINS in New York. And the list goes on and on. Kevin is here. Where are you, Kevin? Say hello, Kevin. Roberta's here. Lou Blasi. He's a guy that can do everything. When I say everything, he can do news, he can do sports, he can do talk. Not many people can, and on the internet. This guy's a wizard of the internet. Mark LeMay, the same. John Moran, another name. His wife, Kathy, they met. And yeah, you were number 12? Yeah, number 12. A name, John Spence, if you like auto racing, John Spence. And Bill Borelli, the late Bill Borelli, who, I'll tell you, as I reminisce here, John Vitale, he's the voice of Rockingham Park. John Mallory, a guy who can write, do TV, do radio. And again, it's been my honor to be able to work with people like this. We're like, as Kurt Gowdy always said, I know Pat has said this too, we're like the AAA farm team for the major leagues. We are. And people who have worked for us over the years, as I said before, remember us and always come back. So, on behalf of I met my wife, by the way, on the radio too. I have that to thank. 1960 New Year's Day. First time we met, right? You don't like me to say that, do you? I'm fortunate to have two lovely daughters, Sharon and Lisa, 6 great grandkids, and I have a great grandson who's 4 years old. So, who's going to be 4? Well, thank you very much. Always great. So again, thank you all for being here, and I hope we can. I look over here and I see Bill Fitzgerald. Look at Bill over there. Boy, you look younger and younger all the time. And you do too. It's a lovely wife there. Ah, such a wonderful evening. Thank you so much again.
We have an award to present to Bruce too for tonight. It says the best announcer ever. Pretty much. But there you go, Brucey.